And hey, everybody, welcome to Bonus Stuff. We just got done reviewing Casablanca over on our other channel, House 6. So go give that a look. We are going through all the Best Picture winners that have ever won Oscars. So go take a look. And if you know Casablanca, you probably know that there's a famous song in it that plays throughout the movie they always tell Sam to play it. So we're gonna share some songs we like this time on the official Good Stuff playlist. So we'll go through it. You can find this on Spotify. Just look up the Good Stuff playlist, I guess. I'll try to put a link in it. Links never work for me, but I will try again.
They always work for me.
I know they work for Jared. So maybe I should just have Jared put the link. All right, so here we go. We are going. This is playlist number 6 for November. So we are going to go, and we start off with a Jared song. So Jared, Honey by Lenny Kravitz.
It's his latest single, and of course I love Lenny Kravitz, so I was like, yay! And it sounds a lot like his older stuff, so I was super hyped. And I have listened to this nonstop since it came out.
Sweet. Okay,
Jared, did you cry when he died in the Hunger Games?
No, I didn't really like him in the Hunger
Games. Spoilers.
All right. So number 2 is one of mine, Running Through Colors by Phantogram. Phantogram is always like hit and miss. I don't think this is a great album, but there's some good. I like the middle part of it. And I thought this was the best song from the album. So that was my pick. Michael, you said that you actually were going to pick from this album.
Yeah, what song did I have? I mostly agree with what you just said about the album. It is like, but I feel like the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me, which is nice.
Yeah, it was better the second listen through than the first listen through, I thought.
But it definitely has a different feel from what their normal stuff is.
Yeah.
It sounds less angry, if that makes sense. What was I going to put on there? I was going to put All a Mystery.
Okay. Who was next? This was Michael, right? Yeah. Okay, cool.
This is a band I don't know where I found them. I have no history or knowledge of them at all, but I like their music. Not all of their music, but a lot of their music. And then this song was just one that I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, that's a Michael song.
It had a bit of a weird tone to it, and I was like, I like it.
It is a Michael song.
No information on anything about them, though.
Next up, Thomas.
This is, I don't know how to say his last name. Quentin Suave. I don't know. He's French. He's literally French. Me and Jared saw this guy when we saw Listener, and he just had a one-man show, and it was a fantastic performance. And we met him afterwards. He was a super nice guy. Tried to speak English the best he could, but it was not working out very well. But yeah, no, this is one of his singles, and I really like this one. But his performance of this song is still kind of like in my mind. It was a really good performance. So
he had great set dressing because he had like these old timey like lights. Yeah. It just like, really cozy.
Like on the boom arm. So he had like one here, like hanging from the microphone, and one on the very like counterbalance of it. But they're like these like old like lawn lights. And it was just him with a soundboard and a guitar, and it was fantastic. Really good set.
And then he's not Italian. Jared had the next two, so Jared was the first one.
Lights was on the latest album of Gunship. She was on the third song, Empress of the Dark or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I like her in that song, so I was like, I'll check her stuff out. And I've been listening to a lot of her stuff. But I noticed this one had Josh Dunn in it, who you know from 21 Pilots, and I was like, oh, sweet. So I gave this one a listen to, and I loved it.
And then the next one, Jared, bugged the heck out of me because I know I've heard this song at the end of credits for something, but I could not find it. So
if you listen to our last bonus stuff, I mentioned that I listened to that Gentleman Bronco movie, that Jared has one, and it was the opening song for it. And it was stuck. It's been stuck in my head ever since. And I sing it throughout the day, and it's just like an earwormy song.
Sweet. All right. So my second song was Nothing There by Neon Horse. So Neon Horse is another like the Starflyer side project. So it is Starflyer, project guy from Project 86, a guy from Staves Acre. Um, so it's the three of them, and they just kind of put out this little themed album. So that was that one. And then we got another Thomas.
St. James Infirmary or St. James Infirmary Blues, covered by the White Stripes. I don't know why I had this one just kind of stuck in my head. I was watching like some old cartoons. It was the Coco the Clown one, and it had the what's his name? Crap. Chubby Checker. God, what is his name? The jazz singer that sings St. James Infirmary Blues. And I was like, you know what? There's that White Stripes cover I kind of like. So I started listening to that a little bit, and then this one. So there you go.
Michael.
This was the song a while back that I mentioned how I hate when like I'm gonna IRL noises or things. So at the end of the song, she does like kind of like a cough noise to fit with the name of the song, which I utterly hate. I utterly hate that. I utterly hate when people talk in songs or do weird things, like I mentioned before. But the song is so freaking good. I still had to put it in here. This is a chick or an artist I found on Instagram probably a year or two ago, but really like her music. But this was one that just like every time I hear it, I'm like, gosh darn it, that's such a good song. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, like personal preference, but I can't stand that. But still. The fact that I still re-listen to the song a bunch is, I guess, a good saying for it. But
all right, so the next one is by a friend of the podcast, Johnny. So Thomas had confused the heck out of me with his picks. So I didn't know he had picked the last one. I thought he said wait till next month. But so I was like, oh no, what am I going to do for the 12th song? So I'm like, Johnny, just pick a song off the top of your head. And of course, Johnny being Johnny picked off the classic Metallica, The Horseman. So, Jared, you like this song?
I honestly don't remember which one this is off the top of my head. So
wait, hold up. There's more to that story too. You also put the wrong.
I did because it has like the exact same logo. It's weird. I just saw white. So yeah, Thomas was confusing the heck out of me last time. So. So Johnny got to make a special appearance.
All
right.
He does that a lot in our podcast, actually.
So my next one is, I talked about it last time. I Remember How Your Hand Felt on Mine by Wisp, and she's this young TikToker who does shoegaze, and it's pretty good. So that one, and then Thomas, here is the pick that I was confused about. So go ahead.
It is What It Is by Thundercat. Just kind of I don't know why I had this one stuck in my head. Just there's been a lot of like just really horrible, crappy stuff happening in my like personal life, and so I'm like, it is what it is. It's like, is there a song by like someone I know? And I looked it up. Yeah, it's Thundercat. And I remember listening to this a lot during COVID. I'm like, yep, this is pretty much exactly my feelings towards things. So it's a good song.
And Michael, you had the closer this time.
But before that, last weekend, I was having deep talks with one of my cousins, and we both agreed how much we hate the phrase "it is what it is."
I hate that phrase too.
I hate it. It's true as heck, and that's why I hate it so much. But I hate it so much.
I just hate it because it feels like you're just giving up on life. I hate that phrase.
It's either that or c'est la vie. It's like such is life. It's like, yep.
I'd rather have that, but then you sound really pretentious.
But the last song,
so perfect for you.
Oh,
I don't say those.
He doesn't say it. He says gobbledygook. Last song with Lost Without You was so I mentioned last week we started Arcane, and one of my this chick, I don't know if it's Freya Riddings or Writings. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, but she had the first song in the new season of Arcane, which I thought was really exciting because I've been following her since like her first album came out. But this is my favorite song of hers of all time. This is not from Arcane. This is the first song I saw on YouTube, and she has this version where she's playing in like an empty, I can't remember what, it's just like a really well lit room, like looks very artistic and everything, but such a good version. But I've listened to the song so many freaking times. I love it. But yeah.
I tell them it sounds like a song that would end a Paddington movie. So.
Yeah, sad ending to a Paddington movie. Find out when the third one comes out.
I know. They already announced the fourth one, so maybe the third one
Oh.
ends very sadly. So
Dang.
kids
Paddington
are
loses a limb
Paddington
in a bear trap in the wood in the wilderness.
He's like,
He's got to bite it off. It's 127 hours.
What's Paddington?
He just
Like
pours
this-
like marmalade on his leg, and he's like, I guess I have
I
to.
I can do
Gotta make it
this.
taste good at least. God, that got dark.
Oh my. Okay.
Poor Paddington.
So next up we have so there was something big that went down. Was it last night? No, Friday night, right?
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
Mhm.
And it was Tyson versus Paul,
Mm.
and it was on Netflix. So Netflix
Was
getting
it?
into the
Was it on Netflix? I don't
That-
really know.
Netflix getting into the boxing game, trying to take the stuff from ESPN and Showtime. So, and like Thomas alluded to, they had some difficulties because it buffered a lot. I had to watch a lot of it on YouTube. You know, where you find those sporting events so that they stream illegally and they just have like this big transparent block on the screen so you can kind of see what's going on. So I watched a lot of it like that. The microphones at the actual fight
Oh my
didn't
God,
work because
My
That was
God.
hilarious.
trying to talk to Lennox Lewis, he couldn't hear. Jerry Jones was talking, he couldn't. His mic went out, so you couldn't hear what he was saying.
I'm
So kind of a-
surprised that like Jerry Jones was allowed in public because like everybody hates Jerry Jones in Arlington.
Well, he owns the building, so
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying that's how much people hate him. It's like, I wouldn't go around walking around there, dude.
Man, he looks old. He looks ancient.
He
Yeah,
looked old
so
when he bought the Cowboys.
it was a disaster, but I think it is the future.
Mhm.
No. That was perfect. It was a disaster? Question mark. That perfectly describes this event.
But I think it is the future of boxing because they're even getting into WrestleMania. They're going to show WrestleMania on Netflix. So that's the future of sports is probably Netflix. So, what the fight for me? What should we talk about the undercards first?
Well,
I think
let's
Jared had
let's
something to
let
mention.
Jared explain how we had to watch it really fast because we went to his
Okay.
place to watch it, and
So at
it
first-
dwindled down very quickly.
Yeah.
So at first we were doing fine or okay, and then we're like it started buffering, and I was like, oh crap, my internet, the cat knocked out the router or something like that, and then we got news that oh no, it's happening to everyone, and so we had to back out, go in, back out, go in.
Went
Multiple
back 5
times.
minutes, like see if it would even do that. And
Yeah. So we're getting frustrated, and then Thomas was like, "Try the Xbox," and I was like, "Okay," and it didn't work. And then we went back to the TV. We're just having a time. We're having a time. But then Michael noticed that his phone was working, and we were like, "Oh, sweet. At least we know what's happening." And then so I was like, I got the idea to get my laptop, use the hotspot, like mobile, because my mobile data was working way better than the actual Wi-Fi. So I was like, oh, I can put it on the laptop, cast it to the TV through like an HDMI cable. We'll be fine. Didn't work. It did not want to work on anything bigger than a phone screen. And so I had a little stand for my phone, and we all gathered around, cuddled, and watched it that way.
Yeah. On his like SP flip out phone.
All right, I sent you a picture, Joseph. That's what it looked like. It is the.
It was funny.
So
all
I
three
think-
of us were just huddled around that phone.
I think we should go through the fights, like all the fights that
cards.
happened. So the first fight was between, I don't remember the names because I don't have them up right now. But apparently it was some dude that Jake Paul's company is promoting, and then this Brazilian fighter. My gosh, this was the most terrible fight I've ever seen personally. I was like, this is horrendous. One guy was showboating the whole time, and the other guy was like winded by like the first punch. And so he wouldn't punish the showboating, and then it was just nonsense the whole time.
The dude humped the guy. Like
Yeah.
that was just oh my god.
Fortunately, it was only
Um,
6 rounds, but
Yeah. The rounds are crazy. Like it wasn't like set
All over the
rounds.
place.
Everyone had
Wasn't
their own rounds.
nothing was not only were like the amount of rounds different, but the times were different too.
Yeah.
Because like this one was like 2 minutes, the next one was 3, the other one was 3, and the last one was 2. It's like
I follow Canelo Alvarez on Instagram, and I like what he said. Like he mentioned that Netflix is the way of the future for boxing, but this was not a good box. This match was just a show. It wasn't an actual boxing event. It was actually kind of harmful for boxing, but he does think that Netflix would be awesome for boxing. Just that this was kind of
Yeah, and
and then
they're even gonna do like NFL stuff too. So
yeah.
we're gonna try.
And
Yeah,
then so Jake was like, who are you gonna fight next? And he wanted to fight Canelo, and Canelo's like, I'm not interested. So
yeah,
I
I
was like,
saw a lot of that, like of who he's gonna fight next. Like Conor McGregor came up, and then
He already fought Connor.
Did he?
the guy who
Yeah.
Well, he boxed him. He didn't even fight Connor.
and he was like,
but his thing.
He wasn't even like training at the time or something like that.
Wasn't he, like, twice his size too.
Oh yeah, no, Connor's a short guy, but the thing is, he wasn't fighting him in his own sport, which is MMA, and not only that, but like Connor's like 5'6" or 7. He's a small dude. Yeah, and super small. And then they only did boxing. I'm just like, this isn't a fight. These are just like stupid exhibition rounds. But Paul's like treating them like they're actual fights. I'm like, these aren't fights, man.
Like he's taking down legends, like at their prime.
Like I'm like, if you see like the old like Mike Tyson stuff, the dude would have ate him, literally ate him.
Well, that's what I saw too. Is like one of the champions actually came out and said, "I'll fight him," and he didn't like respond to him at all.
I do like all the memes of like who he's fighting next, and it's just like the oldest people you can think of.
Well, like what's that one from Flash Kids? It's like, all right, Ali, let's go. Yep, that's how we.
Yeah, that's how we had to watch the final fight.
That was their big screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second fight was Mario Barrios and what was the other guy? Ramos.
Something Ramos.
Ramos. I don't remember his first name.
No, I don't remember.
This one was a breath of fresh air after that first fight. Because we're like, after that first fight, we're like, man, it's gonna be all like this. And then when this one happened, and we're like, oh, okay, it started off a little slow, but then they were like getting into the groove, and it was like an actual fight. And
but the decision was like, I'm sorry,
yeah. If you want to talk about that,
a draw. Like, okay. Jared, what was the guy's name again?
Mario Barrios.
Mario Barrios. I swear to God, they were trying to make a meme of this guy's name. It was never Barrios. It was always Ramos. The other one was Ramos, but the other one was always Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios. So it started off with Ramos and Mario Barrios, kind of fighting. Barrios is obviously taller and has a longer reach, kind of made a bigger like impact in the first like 3 rounds. But then Ramos kind of found his footing and honestly held his own, did a damn good job and beat the crap out of him for a little bit. But then Barrios rebounded and took over the fight again. And so I was like, okay, that was a good fight. But obviously Barrios is the one that wins. Like he's the one that controlled like 2/3 of the match. He has the most hits on there. Ramos took the most damage, even though he did kick into gear, which I was actually like, damn, that was a good fight. That was a decent fight.
If Ramos learned to dodge a little more.
Yeah, because he took that one punch up, he like got knocked to the ground. He's like, oh crap. But yeah, it was a decent fight, but we're like, oh yeah, Barrios obviously wins. This is a no-brainer. And then they come out, it's like, it's a split decision. I'm just like,
yeah,
that was weird.
Saw that.
And that's the first time the crowd was like, what are you talking about?
Like all on Twitter and X and us, we're just like, that was not a draw. Like there was obviously a winner. It was a good fight, but there's obviously a winner. And I was just like, no, something's fishy. These are not good judges. And that leads us to the third fight. Who wants to take that one?
Michael,
Me? Oh,
The
man.
girl.
you had the most like reaction to that fight. You were
Well,
like,
because her eyelid's coming down on her cheek, man. She's bleeding her brain out all over the place. No, so it was versus Taylor was the chicken.
Santos and Taylor.
Santos. That's not what I was going to say. But so
think it's
Taylor
Santos.
was the southpaw, correct?
yes.
Yes.
And so she would kind of lean in with her head, and that was the big conflict with this fight. She kept like charging it with her head, and because they're both have their dominant foot forward at that angle, they're just butting heads the whole time. They're just smacking over and over again. So I guess the refs were saying that's a common thing. I don't know a lot about that, but apparently that's what it was.
It's a common thing, but the thing is, this happened 4
This
times
chick did it a lot.
in a deliberate spot. It's
Terrible
like,
ref.
yeah.
Took him hours to break.
Oh
them
yeah,
up.
that ref was really bad, and then he like calls a point against. But anyway, this fight was, in my opinion, my favorite to watch. I mean, it was brutal and a little iffy at parts, but it was just like they were going ham, and neither of them dropped once. Like there were more punches thrown in that fight than all of them together, and neither of them dropped. I was like, they are monsters. Like the chick, the Taylor chick, needs to play Abby in Last of Us season 2. Sorry for whoever's been cast as that, but she looks like she's as big as Abby. She's terrifying. Though her against Bella Ramsey would be interesting. Sounds like that would work out.
Actually, the girl that got to play Abby's, I think, a terrible choice. It's the youngest sister or daughter from Last Man Standing, and
Oh, really? Her?
Don't remember. I've only seen her profile picture, but
she is 5'3" at the most, and she is skinny.
they
Like,
probably got it just to try and balance out because Bella's not a tall person.
No.
They're probably trying to make it more. I assume that's what they're trying to do is get it
To
more
scale?
We
balance
actually-
between the two.
Did watch a movie with her for the podcast. It was that one with the aliens that invade her house.
The no dialogue one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was her.
That was her. Yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
I
her.
don't remember them. I don't remember her face, but anyway. But yeah, this fight was insane. It was very impressive, very nail biting because I didn't like the eye. They paused it for a minute. They're like, all right, look. The bad ref was like, doctor, we need a doctor to
Zoom
look
in.
at this. And
dude,
yeah, the cameramen are like this.
The freaking ringside cameraman need to like get different work because it was
This is gonna sell.
Yeah, it was always way too close and hung on for way too long. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they didn't
we
bounce
don't
between the
need.
two. They didn't bounce to the other chick in between rounds till like probably the 5th round, I think. Like it was
Really?
forever because they just kept staring at her eyeball, and it was grossing me out. And they didn't do anything. I'm like, can you not put a butterfly band-aid on that? Do you not have some like the good tech band-aids or something? I don't know, but they just kind of let it hang. But yeah, then we get to the end of the fight, and I feel like it was kind of clearly to the what's her name again? Santos, yeah, like she held her own. She I think all the stats were saying she landed more punches, threw more punches, but they gave it to Taylor afterwards. And after each of the fights, including the last one, the rest were just or that bald dude with the beard, very handsome guy, was like pointedly asking, "Hey, do you think this was fair? Do you think this should have happened?" Like there's like, Netflix pay me to be here? Like some of them answered honestly, and like even that one chick, she's like, yeah, she just kept diving in with her head. She does that a lot.
Rosie Perez, man.
Dude, oh
I
my
haven't
god.
watched boxing since like the New Mexicans, like De La Hoya and Tapia were fighting. So it was like, why is Rosie Perez here?
We don't know.
She was a highlight,
Nobody
though, man.
knows.
Yeah.
Just like,
Well, according to her, she's like, I'm a really super fan, but if you could break it down for everybody else, that would be great. I'm just like,
Okay, before the main fight, we need to talk about some things about the Netflix like production.
yeah,
The commentators, Rosie included. Wow.
horrible, but in the best way.
The main dude was like, he was way too excited, yelling at everyone. The other guy was just like, blah, 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 blah. And then Rosie just giving out the most out of pocket. Yeah.
Talking about Tank half the time, someone's kid. And it's like, who is Tank? What is that? Or no, that was somebody box. I have no idea. I lost track. We had too many jokes.
and like she'd be like, yeah, she really hit her there. We're just like, great commentary, Rosie. Fantastic.
And then they start talking for Rosie. They're like, yeah, Rosie, that is what happened.
Like, this is this,
what
right,
happened.
Rosie? She goes, yeah, well, Rosie said it. It's like,
And
And then they kept asking when Lennox Lewis and
Yeah.
what's his name were out, they kept asking, you think he's gonna bite his ear? I
I
don't know. He kept saying it. He's like, "You think you're gonna bite us here?"
Yeah, the in between fights between like each round,
Awful.
like the desk there, that was some of the hardest crap I've ever had to watch.
That
It was
desk was difficult to
so-
watch, man.
Yeah.
It was so awkward and not authentic and poorly managed from an AV standpoint. Like, as somebody who's been in the field, like me and Jared, like if you screwed up that bad during a live show, you're gone. Like you are out. There's no way you're getting paid for that gig. And like because their microphones cut out like 3 or 4 times, and so do their earpieces. Like poor what's his face? Not Holyfield. Lewis. He couldn't hear him because he's like halfway across the table. And they're like, "Can you ask him this question?" And he's just like, "What?"
It was so
it was so embarrassing. And Cedric the Entertainer was wearing a penis hat.
Oh yeah.
And he even turned to me. He's like, "You know they're gonna get you in the memes for that hat, right?" And he's like, "I don't care."
I don't care. You know how
And
much Netflix is paying me.
I understand it's in the home of the Cowboys, but the whole like cowboy cheerleaders part,
so dumb.
I was like, "What are you doing?"
The cheerleaders took out a cameraman.
Yeah, they kicked him. That was great. He's like, "I'm gonna get this cool under leg shot," but he didn't time it right. And he went,
"Bam!"
Going back to that last fight, I like the manager for the one girl who lost because he's like,
"Oh, I know.
Well, yeah, we'll fight again if we could get fair referees."
Well, like even Santos was talking like, I don't get cut. The only time I've ever gotten cut is when I fight Taylor. I'm just like, okay, cool. But apparently that's the thing.
I like how they're trying to be nice. Like, oh, she's a nice person, but she plays dirty.
Yeah.
Just say she cheated, man. So we get to the last fight, and Paul literally rides in his Cadillac, blaring "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins because the whole meme. And his brother's with him, his terrible brother, and they're just driving in, and I was like, oh my god,
no. We all three go like, how are they gonna make that turn?
Oh yeah.
And they can't make the turn, so they get out to walk like 50 yards to the stage. I'm just like, did they not plan that? Because that looks terrible. Because then it's like all driving and then immediately slowed to get everybody out, get around the car. It was, oh my god.
And then Tyson comes out barely with music, just walks out like looking pretty peeved, I guess. But I was like, okay, you got to knock this fool out. You got to knock him out. And then, well, we got to see this fight, and
it was sad. It was like I didn't want to. Tyson is a legend, right?
Yeah.
In his youth, he would have killed anyone. He would have killed Paul and his brother at the same punch. But
he would have punched through Jake and killed Logan. Yeah. What's that sound?
Oh,
weird.
It's like,
it sounds like someone's stomach just going.
But yeah, I didn't see Tyson's almost 60 years old, and I told him I didn't expect much from this fight. I knew it was just going to be kind of dancing around, pretending to punch, and then you know what's Paul wasn't going to try to really kill him, or they would have gone on to him. We had been the most hated man in the.
We had America. A small sliver of hope when this
first round. The first round,
he had about 20 seconds of energy.
Yeah.
He
punches Paul, and he steps back quite a bit, and Paul is scared after that fight.
Yeah,
he was sort of like that. You can see it like live on stage, and then immediately like, yeah, no, I got this. But it's like, I don't think that punch was supposed to go that hard, honestly. Yeah. But
so in the second round, you could tell Mike can't move. You can tell he's just like anchored down, and then I get sad. I'm like, oh no. And then he's not punching him much. Yeah, he's not punching much. He's not moving much. Jake's not doing much, and you're just like, dang it.
Just walking around for
trying to breathe.
But
really.
But after the fight, I was like, okay, Jake, you handled that well with the little interview. You're like, he's a legend. I'm proud I got to do this. I was like, okay, neat. I mean, I'm not totally hating you right now. Yeah. And then his brother, I'll kill you, Tyson, because they're like, Tyson, do you think you'll fight again? And he's like, yeah, I think I might do it again. And he's like, do you want to fight Logan? And he's like, man, I'd kill you, man. And I was like, God, I hate you, Logan. I hate you so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Then the cameraman gave us a moonshot.
They did give us some Tyson cheeks.
I like because we were buffering the whole time, and then we get that, and we're like, what
Because
the?
we're like, ah.
Yeah, that came in crystal clear, that interview, and then that turnaround. You're like,
I didn't know what I was seeing at first. I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh.
even my dad's like, we were not happy to see that.
So yeah, this was kind of like Netflix Pirates of the Caribbean when they first opened that up and nothing worked. So
What?
when Disneyland first
ride.
opened, like the first day,
Oh.
nothing worked. So like the Pirates of the Caribbean didn't even work.
And I love how they had that commercial, like, get ready to watch the Cowboys on
Oh,
Netflix.
I
I was
know.
like, oh, wow.
MMA in February or January.
That was a good preview.
Well, they're like, next week we got WWE. We're just like, okay, good luck getting anybody back.
I
And,
do like Shaq's
Yeah.
suggestion that they have the NBA and the NFL fight. So I would actually like to watch them fight. But I think he was just joking.
So I do like Joe Rogan's take on this. It's like, I'm getting ready to watch the Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, and I like I'm watching someone cast a spell that I hope actually works. I don't really believe in magic, but I want to believe. The next post after the fight, magic isn't real.
I do want Netflix to start showing fights more because I want to see Canelo because I don't watch his fights live because it's always pay-per-view and I'm like, I don't want to pay that much.
Yeah.
But if it's on Netflix, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch more boxing if it was on Netflix. So
Mhm.
yes.
Is it mostly exclusively on HBO right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Showtime and ESPN.
Showtime. Okay. I knew HBO did boxing for a long time. I just, yeah.
All right, so that's going to close out our boxing coverage on our pop culture.
on our flip phone.
I guess it's on our flip phones. All right, so we go into the news, and this kind of scared everyone. So let's get your guys' reaction to it. Is Coke
No, I think it's like Star Wars.
released? Coke released this.
Oh yeah, this is freaky as hell.
I haven't seen this.
I
What
did
is
Hold on,
this?
let me make sure I've got the audio on.
I just saw the headline for it.
Coke released this AI commercial, and
Hmm.
people are kind of frightened.
Is it not the Bears?
It's not the Bears.
Bears, just mooses.
Moose.
Same cheeks.
Thanks. It's just Tyson's cheeks.
Tyson's funny.
The ducks they're one bean.
Monkeys.
Gross.
Monkeys living in this climate?
Trucks are missing wheels.
They don't need that. They need Christmas spirit. Oh,
My God.
Cuddle.
This is gross.
Look at him go.
it's not the real thing. It's AI.
It's AI, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's
Coke,
rough.
billion-dollar company, you think their AI could have come up with something a little better.
They decided to do a video through Meta AI. All right, cool.
Or keep asking it to make something better.
Yeah.
Like improve that a little more.
Enhance.
Which, okay, yeah, AI messes up regularly when it does images and stuff, but you can go in, post, and edit stuff like that. But it's like they took the raw footage and just put it in there. Like those big wheelers, they're missing like the back half of their wheels. Those ducks actually the baby ducks morphed into one being. There was one other part, like
Christmas magic, man. It really does look like you see on Instagram the AI generated trailers and stuff like that. It really does look like that. So
it's like
all right, some more news. So kind of the weirdest attack I've ever seen. The angry video game nerd they're trying to cancel him. his critics. I don't know why he has critics, but he's kind of like the most apolitical guy out there. And they're like,
it's the critic trying to kill him once again.
and they're like, yeah, this guy is the reason for why everyone's so divided and angry is because he's such an angry guy. And his theme song, it's fascist. And it's like, what are you talking about?
You're about 18 years too late to make that claim.
Also, that character it's just a character. If you've seen like his other stuff, he's like the most dad dude ever. It's like, what are you talking about?
And
it's the same thing with the nostalgia critic. People think he's always like this angry guy, and then like when he goes like to the real person, like, "Hi guys, how are you doing today?" You're like, "Whoa!"
And I've never seen the nerd say anything political
Nerd.
in any of his video. So it was just weird that they would attack him. They were saying his refusal way back in 2016 to review the Ghostbuster remake was wrong, and it's like that was way back. That's almost 10 years
That
ago.
was almost 10 years. Oh my god.
Thomas freaking out. 10 years.
10 years. Next year will be 5 years since COVID. No.
So yeah, maybe one day we can get attacked too. So IGN kind of went back on their Dragon Age review. They didn't do a new review because remember they gave it a 9, but they did this article about how the game's actually not that great. So there's
It's
that.
a Gundam had an hour-long video about that game, and I was surprised because he doesn't have long-form videos.
Mhm.
But I saw some things that were in that game. I was like, wow.
That's in my list. And man, talk about a guy that just wants to
Tired. That is a tired man.
Well, I love his meme of himself just like that.
As his whole channel has just been him playing that live, so it just turned into that. Star Wars is a mess. A report came out that none of the writers are talking to each other. No one knows what's going on. The Rey movie can't get a script, so it's a real mess over there. Okay, the Final Reckoning. So the last of the Mission Impossible movies had a trailer. So what do you guys think? I know, Michael, you didn't like the last one. Is there any
good
hope
trailer?
for this?
It was a good trailer, but I'm just like, I don't know if we're gonna stick with I need to rewatch the last one again. I'll rewatch it before the new movie comes out. But I just really, I thought it was fine. Like my brain wants me to say it was worse than that, but it wasn't. It was a fine movie, but it's just not what the last 3 or 4 had been kind of putting forward. Thomas is humming in the background. Thomas, we can hear you, by the way.
All right.
I haven't seen the trailer, so
he runs a lot.
No comments. Yeah, he
no,
runs.
yeah. Well, it's Tom Cruise, so
I saw the interview. They're like, "You run a lot." He's like, "Yeah."
I like it.
Just having a good
I'm
time.
sure it's on his contract that he has to run.
He likes running.
All right. So Disney, they actually forced Rachel Zegler to issue a kind of it's more of a shut up than an apology.
the main actress who's going to play Snow White in the live action.
So
if that ever comes out.
She had some comments to say about Trump winning the election.
Oh.
So the very last part, she's like, if you follow me, unfollow me because I don't need your business. So and Disney came out and it's like, whoa, we want your business. So yeah, she really fell in it again as she usually does. So.
Well, she's like, also, I hope anybody who supports him never knows peace. It's like,
good.
They're knowing it now. They're having fun. But yeah, she's 23, so she's just really dumb.
What a dumb year.
Warner Brothers is making a Forbidden Planet remake. I just have that because me and Jonah just watched it. And so, yeah, they're saying it's more of a revision than a remake. So I hope they keep in the classic UFO looking ship that they have and all the kind of classic looking stuff. But
They're
you're
not.
saying
It's going to be all modern.
Yeah, and that's going to suck. So. So we'll wait for that. And that is all I have or the news. So let's get into your guys' list of what you did. Who wants to go first?
Who do you want to go first, Joseph?
Who do I want to go first? Uh, I don't have a want, but I will
Doesn't have
just say Thomas can go because he kind of raised his hand.
Oh, I was trying to flick my beard like in Kill Bill, but oh well. So just did a bunch of YouTube. Basically, I didn't really watch a lot. Watch
So
this.
disappointed with himself.
Well, I mean, I've been studying, and I'm just trying to get over
Just pulling
like
your leg.
COVID and crap, and I can't focus on anything. Like I have like COVID brain. It's not even fun. So this one channel called Dead Man, it's these guys that decided to buy like a few acres of land in Alaska and build a cabin just like out of raw materials that they find on their land. And it's very interesting.
That's cool.
It's like it's like 3 hours, and each video is like one video is like 50, the other is like 30 and 40 minutes long. And it's just a bunch of like 4 guys that go out there and they build a log cabin with all the material on their land. It's pretty interesting. So, but you know, they're kind of funny, and they're like, oh, you know, it's like, what happens? Like, well, our rain barrel knocked over, so we're really not able to drink any water today. It's going to suck. But they're like on 800 calories a day by doing all this labor. He's like, we are losing a lot of weight. So, but yeah, it was a very interesting series of videos. This other channel called Exits Examined, he does reviews on book series, and he did an overview of Redwall, the little book series about the fighting mice and ferrets and stuff like that. He's like, I love these books as a kid. And like, I realized when going back, it's like, there's a lot of violence in these books, like a lot of horrific violence and war in these books, but that's what made it awesome. So this other guy called June the King, he did a video on The Amazing Atheist. I don't know if you ever watched any of his stuff back in the day. I kind of watched some of it because it was kind of cringe and just kind of stupid. You kind of laughed at him, to be honest with you. I think he's kind of crazy, the Amazing Atheist guy. Definitely needs some help, but I don't really understand his mindset. It seems like a path of self-destruction, and I'm just like, okay, cool, man. Good luck with that. And then It's a Gundam came out with his Dragon Age video, like Jared was talking about, and he can talk about it too. It's sad to see because I'm like, It's a Gundam. I was a huge fan of the Dragon Age series when I was like younger. Like Dragon Age Origins and 2 are some of my favorite RPGs. And it was gay the whole time. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like there are gay characters and queer characters in this, but it wasn't solely the focus of the entire game. And I didn't have all this dialogue purposely dedicated to this. It was just there. Like, okay, that's how life exists. It's just there. Cool. You don't have to interact with it if you don't want to. But just for the whole game to center around that is just ridiculous. And also the art style has gone down so badly. Like it used to look really cool and it was dark. The Kunari in Dragon Age 2 were some of the coolest looking villains of all time. And then with this, they just look horrible.
Like Overwatch.
Yes, it looks like a mush, like a bad Blizzard character. And so it was ridiculous. And then I watched highlights of Destiny's election stream. That was hilarious. And that dude needs to seek some psychiatric help. Like,
did he just cry the whole time?
Yeah, no, he was shouting at everybody. And I'm just like, I don't know how you people sit around a table with this jackass, because like the moment he would say something, and he doesn't say like something like slightly unhinged, he'll say something like, I hope your mom dies. I'll be like, cool. Well, I get to like slap the hell out of you now, but whatever. So it's just, and then he had Amaranth on there too. I'm just like, yeah, a serious political stream with Amaranth. I'm like, that's, what?
Well, he's a cuck, so
yeah, it's true. That is true. He probably paid for her stuff too. So, then I talked about him last time. His name's Carl Manaski. He does like the Workman's gear and stuff like boots. He had a really cool video about he called them lifetime buys. So he's like, like certain knives and there's like these really cool titanium pins I want to get. He's like, these are like these pins will literally last as long as you give them ink. I'm like, that's kind of cool, but they're like $120. But he had some of that stuff, and then he had this other side channel called Coffee with Carl, and it's just little it's him being all comfy and cozy and talking about stuff. And then he talked about
That's a blast from the past of YouTube, Michael.
Carl. But he talked about the Yellowstone like clothes and stuff. He's like, these are like definitely some rich people because these are some expensive clothes. There's a jacket that one of the characters wear. It's like $700, like off the rack. It's like, oh my God. So, in fact, side story. So when I started buying Carhartt and stuff, I was just buying stuff like at thrift shops and
in the first days of my Carhartt
addiction.
And so like I bought like random stuff off eBay. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool. It's like $40. I can spend that. I got this one jacket. Didn't really fit me very well because of the spare tire here. Not gonna lie, I'm a big guy. Gave it to my brother. He didn't really like it. He's like, it's not really my thing. I'm like, okay. But let's keep it for now. I'll get it from you later. Come to find out, the jacket that I gave him is an original J97 Carhartt Detroit jacket with the blanket lining. So I actually got it back from him because he had it in his truck for some reason.
I just can't believe these have like names like the L7.
So this is a J97 Carhartt or Detroit. It's got the horse blanket lining. Doesn't have the rivets on the collar, so it's a J97. It's got the side rivets right here. So this one right here starting, I got this for $40 on eBay, which I thought was a pretty good deal. So these things are going for about $300 now. So that's going to stay with me for a long time.
I give you $2 to throw it out.
No.
Poor horses need blankets, and you're taking them.
And you're taking the poor horses' blankets? My God. You ever think of the horses?
No, not at all. So yeah, that was a fun little find. I was like, oh, that's worth quite a bit of money. I'm gonna hang on to that. Well, I didn't steal it. He gave it back.
Remember that worthless jacket I gave you a while back? Will you just get back to me? I just need,
And then I'm starting this. I'm about 4 hours in. It's called The Real Dr. Fauci by RFK Jr. I'll get back to you on it. It's kind of frightening. And if 1/4 of what is in this book is true, I am very pissed at a lot of people. So I'll get back to you. So have fun. Who's next?
Well, before I forgot about something. So before we go, we got to talk about the ending of the Penguin because it ended last week. So last episode of the Penguin, and I thought it was pretty good. What do you think, Michael?
I definitely think the show is very good. I do think people overhyped the show like crazy. Like people were acting like it's like
like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's Breaking Bad's cousin or something. Like the show's great, but let's calm down a little bit. I mean, it's the same kind of like anti-hero kind of like main character you're following, but
I mean, it starts off anti-hero, but by the end of this episode, he's just truly a villain.
He's the Penguin, but but definitely I like the culmination. I like the fact that they didn't wipe the board completely clean, so they keep some of the characters and things going on. Like I didn't want them to like just go away with the Penguin and be like, all right, we're never going to see any of these people again. So I'm excited that's not the case. But yeah, I like the
did
show
the dress
overall
come
very
back?
much. The dress did not come back. She did wear a black dress with this like scarf thing going over.
Mm-hmm.
Very wonderful as well. Not as good as the yellow dress.
Yeah.
But
it was interesting, Joseph said.
It caught my attention.
Okay.
Was it a premium B59 Carhartt Deluxe?
There's some B59. That's a plane. No. I just see Joseph sitting there like, you had my curiosity. Now, Have my attention.
So the episode for me, it was good. I don't know if it was great. I don't know if I call it great. The beginning was awesome with his mom
Mm-hmm.
and that whole scene with them having them like tied up in chairs. I thought that was great. What we learn about the penguin, his background of what he did, and the fact that his mom knew what he
Yeah.
did, and that was just some great TV. So it had to kind of come down from there. And the middle part, I did think kind of was a drop off. But then the end
Yeah, it
was
ends
really
really
good
strong.
too. Dude, it ends really
Some of
good.
the best performances I think we've seen in a while, just from like the penguin, his mom, and Sophia.
Mhm.
Like all of them are so freaking good, man.
And then Sophia's fate, I thought was perfect.
Yep.
Put her back where she does not want to go. I mean, that's her, that's hell for her. So put her back in there. And then uh like I said, the penguin during out the first until you get to this episode, during the whole season, like I said, he's kind of an anti-hero. You kind of root for him because, he's like just a guy, trying to build his way up. But then the end, he's just like super villain. I mean, so he's like, what he does, the resolution with his mom makes him creepy.
Yeah.
He's just creepy he's not only evil, he's just like insane. Um, and then the end with, I guess, with Victor's ending, uh, it was intense.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it to go. I didn't expect Victor to come out of it, I'll say, just because I can't see that character in a Batman
Yeah.
movie. Because it'd be like weird. We're like, no, Batman, that guy's kind of cool. Don't beat the
Wait.
crap out of him. And of course, we do get set up for the Batman. We don't get much Batman, but we get some Batman. And Catwoman too. They
Yeah.
mention Catwoman. So I've seen a lot of talk about who the villains in the background could be, a lot of Court Owl stuff. They say there's a lot of that in the first movie. I don't really remember any of that. But the one I believe is Hush. I think it leans a lot to Hush, and I think Hush fits in well with this universe. And they do mention the Elliott Bridge, which is his family's name. So I think it leans towards Hush. I also think the Red Hood would fit really into this universe, but I don't know how they would do the Red Hood because they'd have to age up a Robin real
I was
fast.
gonna say, like, Pattinson is about our age, so I mean, we wouldn't
I
have
think-
time for two.
Yeah, it'd be hard to do, but I think the Red Hood would really fit well into this universe. But yeah, so it's exciting because we know we're getting a second one, comes out in like 2026. So it's not for a while. He has said the script's not done. So I'm guessing with everything that happened with the series and how popular it is, they're going to go in and kind of link it more with the series.
Is this what's his face?
Matt
The guy that direct,
Reeves.
yeah, Matt Reeves. Is it?
Yeah,
did
just
he
produced it.
produce?
Produced it.
Okay. Did he write any of this or no?
I don't know.
I never saw his name writing it, but I could be
Okay.
wrong.
But yeah, like Colin Farrell's great performance in all that. You can't even tell it's him. I mean,
I still like that story that he has about is it Jeffrey Dean Wright? How do you say his name? The guy that played Gordon?
just
Um,
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. Sorry, Jeffrey Wright. He didn't recognize who he was on set. He's just like looking at him like, what? He's like, wait, Colin?
That's
So-
like the How I Met Your Mother mom interview. She's like, I know like Oz way better than I know Colin because
Colin.
I only saw Colin a few times during all the time we filmed. Like that is weird.
So he definitely deserves probably an Emmy for this.
That's cool.
He says he does have like 5 or 6 scenes in the Batman 2, so we'll see him in that. And they're talking about Batman 3 because he said he's signed on for 2 more movies. So Probably will get the Batman 3. And then
I
they said that they want to do a bunch of like villain one shots seasons like this. So that'll be cool.
I'm
I
down
am
for it.
shocked that the second one's taken this long because the first one was a pretty big hit. So
Yeah, I think it's the gun stuff kind of got in the way because they're gonna have to have two separate Batman universes now. 'Cause there's the guns Batman and then this Batman, so it's kind of weird. I think they could do it though. What was I gonna say? One last thing. Oh, and I did look it up. Sophia, that character is from the comic, so I think she's in the Long Halloween. But all right, so Michael, you want to finish your list?
I just got Arcane talk left because last week we watched
Uh-oh.
Act 1. And
Mhm.
then I told us I was going to rewatch the 3 episodes before this one because I was iffy on where it was going and what we were talking about. Still thought they were very good. So we watched the second 3 last night. But I did rewatch the first 3 over the week. I've settled on, I think first one's excellent. I think the second one is where I start to have issues. And then the third one is where I'm like, okay, they're going in a direction I didn't want. It's not bad. Like we the last 3 episodes, me, Alex, and Logan, my cousin, are all on the same page where we're like, it's not bad. It's definitely like it's better than most shows you're probably gonna watch, but it's so far from like if you compare to this season to the first season, like it's first season's a 10 for me. This one's like a 6 if you're comparing it to that. Like what they went from such a character driven emotional show to, I mean, it did the anime flip. Like they're going so big and like motives and things they set up in the first season, like the last episode, what that sets up in the first season should have been this massive weight throughout season 2. They resolve it too quickly. There are flips of certain characters multiple times of like allegiances and stuff, and there's no reason for it. I'm like, there, wait, like, what changed your mind? Like, the characters are kind of taken out of it, and the story's taken over, which is very, very sad. Because that, I mean, I feel like that's what everyone loved about Arcane. They loved the characters. The characters, what it is, like the world's cool. The world's in the background though. Like the characters were the catalysts that were driving the story forward. Now they're trying to take it into, like, I'm just gonna throw the anime trope of it, and they're just going too big with it. They're going entities and all that junk. Yeah, go ahead.
Are they kind of catering to, because it's a League of Legends
Yeah.
thing? I don't know if you have much
I know
care about League of
nothing
Legends.
about League of Legends.
Okay. Are they trying to cater to the fans of League of Legends, or is it just?
I don't think so. I'm honestly pretty confused because we were talking about it after we watched it, and like I said before, the first 3 episodes of the arc and even the 4th episode are very, very formulaic. Like it starts with an opening kind of montage with music in it, which is something they did at one point in the first season, but it was just a moment you remembered because it was so unique. Like throughout the first season, they had such a unique kind of creative exploration throughout the season. It changed. They had different modes and waves. Like you think about Echo with Jinx on the bridge, and they have that song where it's going with the clock he's ticking, and they have that kind of childhood reminiscing fight. There's like things like that they just try and play off of too much, and they just kind of hit beats in the first 4 episodes are very, very similar. And then the last 5 and 6 were very different, but they just like, it was like, we're going to jump in this, like we're literally leaping in this direction from away from what we want, what we built with these characters, the conflicts they had and everything like that. We're leaping into this other direction where we're just going to go big, good, evil, all that stuff. Like it definitely, it took a massive turn that we are not, me, Alex, and my cousin are not fans of because it's not what we
I've
wanted.
heard someone else say that they didn't like the direction it's going.
It's genuinely like Alex and Logan were like, yeah, we just kind of accepted it, and I'm like, I'm enjoying it for what it is, but like I was up last night thinking about it for too long. Like it is bothering me because of how much like a simple thing with the 2 main characters. They was in the trailers. You see, it's going to be these 2 characters versus each other at one point. Like there's such a conflict between them 2. And like the and it's obvious there's gonna be points where they're gonna have to, you know, be around each other and stuff like that. I'm trying not to give spoilers and everything, but it's like how they do that. They had the answer in front of them, even with this story they wanted to tell, but it's just like they didn't see that emotional tie to bring them to that point. And I'm like, you literally have it in episode like 5, but you didn't, or 4, but you didn't use it. Why not? Like it's just nothing connects emotionally with it anymore. It's just like this weird, and there's still 3 episodes. There's a lot of questions. There are things they haven't dealt with, people that haven't dealt with, like sections of villains and good people they haven't dealt with. We haven't seen. We're like, what is going on with all that? But I don't know. It's definitely a down step for me, 100%. It feels like even Alex's girlfriend Anna, who isn't crazy about it like we are, she's like, I feel like I'm watching a different show. And I was like, that's a very, very valid opinion in my opinion, because it's so far from what it was, and oh man, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because it's like I'm like, you had like, just take away even the characters of the story, like just how creative it was with the episode, how they flowed, and the scenes of memorable moments. Like we talked about the one whenever Jinx lights up the flare in the first season. You've no idea I'm talking about Joseph or Thomas, but there's a moment where her sister basically tells her, hey, take this, and whenever you need me, light it and I'll come. And like there's a time difference between when she lights this flare. I'll just put it that way. And like how they do this to where it like shows what she's going through visually. There's so much in the new season that is it's like tell. It's like it's like, hey, this is see this item. This means this. They're talking to the crowd the whole time, but like in like I'll go back to I brought this up yesterday when we were talking about it. The Echo scene with Jinx and Echo on the bridge. There's a character called Echo, Joseph, and Thomas. They fight on a bridge. They were childhood friends, but it's like how they visually tell you that they're both reminiscing about being friends as kids and playing, but now they're fighting to kill each other. It's like they visually do it without saying a word. There's not a single word, and you're just like, you understand, oh, that's what's, and even if you don't understand, it's okay. You just know these two people are gonna fight. But like if that scene was in this season and he's doing this little watch that's when the song starts, and because he's kind of playing with it, it's like you're thinking about time, he's going like, oh, they're kids and blah blah blah. It's weird, very well put together. But literally in this season, they would be like, remember this? She's like, oh, that old thing when we played as kids. That's crazy to see. Let's fight. That's literally what the dialogue would be like. The dialogue is taken such a down step, and it's so in your face of telling you what's going on. I'm like, you there's no, I don't know. I don't know what is going on. If it's like some weird, it got too popular and executives got a hold of it and they want like, I don't know. There's something weird, and there's something very, very different from this season to the last season. So we'll see. 3 more to go Saturday.
All
and
the same creators.
That's
I don't know. I haven't looked into who's still a part of it, who wasn't. It's still visually, like, visual looks incredible. Like I said, I think it's better than most shows. This season's better than most shows we watch. I've watched this year for sure, but it's like when compared to the first season, like it's half as good, in my opinion. That's crazy to say, but
that's interesting to hear, because I know the Mauler and the gang love that show, so I'm interested to see how much
and people are loving it, man.
about
people
it.
are going crazy for it, and I'm like,
really?
I
gotta check out their videos.
I mean, and it's like I said, like the quality's still there. Like the fight scenes look amazing, the visuals look amazing, the world's still amazing, the voice acting is incredible throughout the thing. But it's just that there's so much lost in it, and so much in like what it was dealing with and what it was leading towards, just thrown by the wayside for just this. Yeah, hard to say without spoiling it, but
yeah,
like I said, I'm still enjoying it.
I might start, but it's the second season soon.
So so the last 3 episodes will be Saturday. So, but it's been a tough one for me for sure. I'm like, gosh, dang it, man, this was literally perfect, and I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'm done.
I forgot to mention I've been watching some EFAP movie ones, especially the ones with Shad on there, and I love Shad so much because he's like this super uber nerd,
the historian guy.
Yeah, because
the sword guy,
yeah, because he'll be like, did you know this? And they're like, we don't care, Shad. It's like every time, but they bring him in just so he can like point out like what's wrong, and like they did the Kingdom of Heaven one. He's just like, there's a lot about this that makes me mad. We're like, the whole movie makes you mad, Shad. So they have this whole thing. He's like, Orlando Bloom, he can't act, can he? Like, no, I don't think he can. He's like, I can't believe it took me this movie to realize I don't think Orlando Bloom can act. Like, there's no facial expressions. Like, it's like Liam Neeson walks on screen. See, he's not even saying anything, but I know what he's saying. And then like Orlando Bloom walks in. What's he looking at? I don't know. No one knows. So, but yeah, those are like that one. The Braveheart one is hilarious because Drinker's all about Scotland, and He's just like, oh yes, no, don't you know that this is the way this is the way it really went down? Like, and Chad's like, no. They're like, no, we don't care. Like, you're English. We don't give a crap about what you're saying.
I love Mueller was talking about Shad on a different show, and he's like, that crazy Australian logic of Shad. It just cracked me up.
Like in what was it? Braveheart, when the princess comes on and Mueller goes like, a woman. It's good.
Well,
So,
speaking of EFAP, I watched the one because I don't know how I missed it. They watched The Cave with the actual director, or not The Cave, The Descent.
Descent, yeah.
I was like, the cave. What?
That one's really good. Drinkers on that one as well. But I love their movie watch along. I love their Halloween one because they did Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't do much. Well, I do stuff. I did stuff, but it's not.
I do stuff.
I do stuff.
I can't talk about it.
We watched old men fight each other.
It's a bunch of like stuff that I've talked about before, and I don't really like bringing stuff. I like bringing up new stuff. So, I wanted to see if Michael has been keeping up with Don to Don.
I have not.
I have caught up because I actually.
Oh, okay. So the only thing I wanted to bring up was this last episode was emotional, and it came out of nowhere. I was like, what the heck?
It's like they put like the beginning of Up into the middle of this episode. Like, what the
heck?
It was really good though.
Yeah.
It was really tragic.
I feel like I've been busy with everything because we had Penguin, I was rewatching Arcane, and then now we're gonna have Dune this week. So
how much did you watch of Dan?
I only watched the beginning.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. What's the title, Joseph?
Dan. I watched. So I watched it because I don't know why I watched it, but so I'm watching it, and then so it's an interesting setup. So it's got like ghosts and aliens, which I think is really cool. I kind of wish there's a lot of stuff I wish. I kind of wish that the girl's power came from the alien. So you'd have one that was like a ghost, and then you have one that's like alien stuff, and they're kind of switch, and the roles are kind of switched. I kind of wish they went with that. They didn't go with that. And, kind of makes me sad. Another thing is there's like the first arc, right? It's like the first 3 or 4 episodes. They're dealing with this one character, and I get to the end and I'm like, okay, cool. This character we're done with. We finished it. It's just the first arc thing. She comes back in the 4th one, and I'm like, dang it, we can't get rid of this character. But I am enjoying it. I love the art. The art style is great. It's from this company that's known for the kind of weird stuff. They did that.
Sansaro.
Yeah, they did the weird episode of Adventure Time. They did the weird episode of Space Dandy. They did the weird episode of Star Wars Vision. So I love their art, and it's really cool. So
you watched the ping pong anime, right, Michael? Or is that just Alex?
I think just Alex watched that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, they did that. So
yeah, and yeah, the music in the intro is pretty cool. It's just it's a fun anime. I think that if we ever did meet ghosts or aliens, they would act exactly like they do in the show and just talk about nether bits and stuff like that. So
protect your boobies.
Yeah, I think that's how they would act. Okay, keep going, Jared.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, so Thomas, we've been keeping up with Bleach, and Graham Zhao's back, like because it happened in the manga. I hate him so much.
He's cool,
I hate that character to the core.
Well, I'm sorry. The other one's dead, so sorry.
Yeah, but I will say the drip on that guy is nice. Like he is fancy,
stylish as heck.
There's a fight. There's a versus between 2 characters. I don't remember if it was in the manga, but are you watching this at all, Thomas?
Not yet. No, I'm kind of. It's not that I'm taking a break for anime, but I had like a big anime like blow through during like the summer. So, and right now I'm kind of trying to focus whatever I can because of COVID brain. And so my mind is pretty much only what is holding my attention. And I've tried to watch I tried to watch Dan to Dan and I couldn't focus. I was like, crap, I don't think I could focus on it. I even tried to watch some Gundam, like nothing. So
Dang, if he's not focusing on Gundam, my gosh.
I know. Oh, I finished that Requiem of Vengeance, but I think it's because it was so short, I just didn't really care. But I tried watching some Double Zeta and I couldn't focus. So I was like, okay, I don't think I'm in an anime mindset. So
Can we
But-
say the characters who are fighting?
Yeah, it was Uryu and Renji, the doofs. The guys you're just like, I
The
guess.
guys, yeah.
you're like, all right, is this who we're working with? I guess. Cool.
But it was actually a pretty cool fight, I thought.
Yeah.
No, okay. Here's the thing about Renji's fights. They're always interesting. He just has almost nothing like to do with the outcome. Like
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to say he's Yamcha because he's not exactly useless. It's just he power arced so heavily in that first season that we've just never gotten over that. I'm sorry. Like Rukia is way more powerful than Renji. And it shows. You're just like, okay, cool. Renji, you're kind of a joke now. So I apologize. Because like he immediately got power like overcome by Byakuya, who's 10 times cooler than Renji. So but yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
The one thing I'll say is Uryu made a comment that I was like, wow, I didn't know he thought about. He said, I fought you because I despise you, Renji. I was like, I didn't know he even thought about Renji.
Who thinks of Renji?
What was oh god, it was from it's a Gundam. He's talking about like what's it like being like hated by the woke on Twitter. He's like, it's a Tuesday. It's like that clip from Street Fighter. It was merely Tuesday. So
A bunch of weaklings got shot.
Yeah. Some characters you see a lot just shot in the heart.
Yeah.
Because that sniper dude. And I was like, man, dude, that was pretty brutal.
there's a lot of people that actually die in this arc.
Yeah.
So
Still awesome. Can't wait to see more. The only thing of note that I watched is me and Johnny are meeting up a lot more to watch horror movies. So we watched The Substance. So I finally got to see that.
Where did you watch it on? Because I really want to see it.
What is it? It's a streaming site, Mubi.
No,
Really?
Yeah.
Was it for free?
No.
Oh,
Johnny had to do a free trial membership to watch it. So he came over, we watched it. Johnny wasn't too keen on this one, but I enjoyed it. It was very like watching it. There are some crazy like camera angles, and I was like, this has to be. Huh?
As I say, is there a reason why you like this one?
Not I like the body horror, I guess.
Oh, never mind.
There's a lot of crazy shots, and I was like, this has to be a French director. And then we looked it up. It's a French director. I was like, that makes so much sense.
The only scene I've seen from this movie is the one where Dennis Quaid is eating
the shrimp.
Yeah. And that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
It's like as bad as the dude from Lord of the Rings. It's crazy. There is a lot. I wasn't expecting it, but knowing that, like seeing it and seeing that it's a French director, there's a lot of nudity, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, if you like body horror, you'll like this one. It has a good premise. It's got some set rules, and it follows the rules very well. So there's this company that makes the substance, and so they promise that it will make a better version of you. And so Demi Moore's character, she is feeling old because she is a bit older now. She in this world, she is like a Richard Simmons type. She makes like this fitness show. It's weird, but she's aging out of it, and they're letting her go because they need to find someone new, attractive, and hip, I guess. And so she's like feeling real bad about it, and this company is like, we can you take this substance and it makes the better version of you. And she's like, oh, I got to do this. And so she takes it, and literally a better version is birthed out of you,
Gross.
and it is pretty rough. And it was a crazy scene, but it was pretty cool because it was body horror. But this younger version of her is born, and she basically just takes her job. And so the rules are you get 1 week on and 1 week off. Your newer version gets 1 week, and then you get a week, and you have to stick to that, or there's some very like there are some very bad consequences if you don't. And so of course the newer version is like, I want more time. I'm doing the work. I deserve it. And so she takes more time. And so to me, Moore's character, when she wakes up, her body is like horribly disfigured from it. And she's like, how dare she? And so it's like a fight between them. And it's really I like this rule set that they set up and that you have to follow. And so this movie, so Jay loves this movie from Red Letter Media, and so you're like, if he likes it, it must be pretty depraved. In this movie, at the end, I don't want to spoil anything because I know Thomas is really interested in it, but it goes over the top at the end, and I was like, oh wow, and then it keeps going. And you're like, okay, oh wow.
Johnny gave it a 2 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, he was really down on it. I thought it was a lot better than he thought. It's a very it was a commentary on like just Hollywood in general, like how they only value young people, like beautiful people, and like how the old is just like thrown out, I guess, or disregarded. I think it did a good job, especially for like a body horror movie. It was very like Cronenberg. So I know Thomas enjoys Cronenberg movies, so I think he'll like it. And it was done from a woman's perspective on this subject, so I kind of appreciated that. But it goes in some interesting directions, and I was like, wow. And like it doesn't hold back on nudity, which I was like the whole time like these like close-up shots on body parts, and I was like, and then it does not hold back on the body horror and the gore. And I was like, wow, I was surprised that they did this. And I'm surprised, like Demi Moore is pretty old. Look, she's older now, and I was surprised she did this scene, and she looks good for her age. I was like, okay.
I did read something about that. It says like she wouldn't have done it if it wasn't a woman director.
Yeah,
because like
it's pretty respectful.
Yeah, it's just like having a decent like what do you call it, outlook toward your actor and being respectful for it. I'm like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I just really appreciate the rules that it set up and that it followed the rules, and it actually like it didn't like some movies they set up these rules and they're like clearly don't follow them and you're like, eh. But this one did, and I was like, okay. So I do appreciate this movie. I want to talk to Johnny more about it, like why he was so down on it, which we did after we watched it. But it was fresh in his mind, so I kind of want to see if he thought about it more, and like if he still like is kind of like still adamant about those kind of why he was down on it. But I enjoyed it. I would give it. It's very much a movie that like you just need to watch once. You probably will never watch this movie again. But I think it did. Like, I think it did. It's like it's set out for a mission. I think it did it. So I enjoyed it. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5. That's what it does on Letterboxd, right?
Yeah,
5
around
stars. Okay, so I'd give it like a 3.
Not 5, but about 4.
4?
3.9. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. I think it was entertaining and I enjoyed it. What's up?
So this movie was made for 17.5 million, and it grossed 51.5. So
Yeah.
it did pretty well.
Yeah,
Good on it. Talking about it.
Yeah. It doesn't like the budget was very well spent, I would say. But yeah, I think Thomas would enjoy it, and I know he's hyped about it, so I would recommend it. and I'd like to see what you would think about it. And like, see, I think you'd probably be in the middle of me and Johnny. But I like to see what you would think of it.
Well, just funny. I do appreciate uh body horror, like especially like Cronenberg. But weirdly enough, my favorite Cronenberg movie isn't a body horror movie. Perfect things happen, but it's not like The Fly or Extends. Extends is weird. I do like Videodrome though. That is a
I
really
love
fun one.
Videodrome. Yeah,
That is a like
I've never
the-
seen Extends, so I need to watch that.
it's a little odd. It's also from the perspective of people who don't play video games, talking about video games. It's like that did not age well.
It's like Gamer.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is your favorite Cronenberg movie?
A History of Violence.
Mm.
Which again, it's not like body horror. Some horrific things happen to people in that movie, but it's not strictly a body horror movie. It's either that or Videodrome. I love Videodrome. That's such a crazy. That's a fun movie.
I think it's more of the kind of like, what was that? His most recent one. I always forget the name of it.
Something of the future.
Crimes of the Future.
Crimes of the Future. Yeah.
I think it's more in line of that kind of body horror.
The Substance.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I liked that one, so we'll see.
Yeah. But that's all I did.
Cool. So yeah, you mentioned a lot of ones I did, so everyone kind of took one from my list. The last one was I played Cassette Beasts because I've been playing, I've been opening Pokemon cards on the app, so I wanted to play a Pokemon like game.
What are you, Logan Paul?
I wanted to play.
Everyone's being a Logan Paul right now, Thomas. Get on the train.
Do you know how much times this have been downloaded? But anyway, I wanted to play a Pokemon-like game, so the only game close to that on Xbox is Cassette Beasts. And the one unique thing it does is it plays a lot with the types. So, Pokemon usually fire, or water beats fire, but in this, water not only beats fire, if you use a water attack, the fire turns to steam and it like heals the water or something like that. Or like if you attack ice with fire, it turns fire into water. So it does a lot with the types, and that's kind of interesting. It's not as good as Pokemon, but it's scratching the itch. I've been playing it a lot this weekend, so that's what I was doing. So any last words for this episode? No? All right. So like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye.